What's up, guys, and welcome back to Coach Hall Writes. In today's video, we're going to be doing an annotate with me, which means that I'm going to be walking you guys through Florence Kelley's 1905 speech to show you guys how you can annotate for an AP Lang exam. So here I have a couple elements of soapstone or space gat. Now we're going to be looking at each paragraph individually. I've already got it color-coded for your benefit. So the first thing I want you to notice is the two words in that first sentence, we and country, because those have a patriotic and unifying effect. Then you'll notice that there are several other words in that sort of like maroon color, which are references to facts, therefore they're logical appeals. And then on the bottom of your screen in green is the phrase enlightened states, which I thought was interesting word choice. So for the video, what I'm going to do is I'm going to put the annotation, specifically the references to choices or strategies, on the left margin. And then on the right margin, I'm going to show you guys kind of like how you could write this in essay form. Now, it's not meant to be a complete essay, but it's showing you some different ways to take your annotations and turn it into complete sentences. Now let's move on to the next paragraph. So this one I didn't annotate a ton, but I did look at the phrase young girls because I thought it evoked a sense of pity or sympathy. And so it is basically Florence Kelley narrowing her argument, showing that girls are the fastest growing demographic, which is interesting because her audience is predominantly, if not entirely, female. Now for this paragraph, we're going to see juxtaposition, which I have coded in red. So you see this contrast here between we sleep and they work. So she's juxtaposing the working conditions of the girls and the living conditions of her audience. And this is again evoking an emotional appeal. She's also using a lot of detail here, which is something that she continues to do throughout the subsequent paragraphs. So on the left, I have the annotations. On the right, just some sentences that work through those annotations in a more essay-like form. So you'll see that I'm trying to vary my word choice here by starting with by emphasizing. Now, if we progress to the next paragraph, you're going to see exemplification. So this is basically a mode of rhetoric, which means that the author or speaker is giving examples and basically is comparing and contrasting different states here. So by providing these examples, Florence Kelley emphasizes the fact that the states, particularly in this case, Alabama and Georgia, do not have good labor laws. We're going to see her progress with these examples even more, which is important because she transitions by talking about Georgia, talking about how the girls aren't even tall enough to reach the bobbins. So more detail, really playing on the emotions of the audience, but also really emphasizing the amount of hours that they work. And so you'll notice the punctuation here. We have an exclamation point. So this is a more passionate sentence to lead into this paragraph. And we see a lot of the similar strategies that we've already talked about. Now, if we transition to the next paragraph, we recognize that there is a shift here. We're still talking about exemplification. We're still noting examples of states, except now she's saying that it's not just in the South, it's in New Jersey too. So this relates back to that first sentence that we looked at where it was talking about we and country, because it's not just a Southern problem. It is an entire nation's problem, and therefore it is a pressing and urgent matter. You can also see that she talks a little bit about laws here and how a good law was repealed. Remember that in 1905, women didn't have the right to vote, and that was one of the things that suffragists wanted. So we're going to see the implications of that later on in the speech. Now she brings in her final example, which is Pennsylvania. The speech itself was delivered in Philadelphia, which is in Pennsylvania, so she's narrowing it down to the actual audience that she has in her true location here. So you'll see a lot of similar strategies that we've already talked about. And again, I've included some ways to kind of take those annotations and turn them into complete sentences. If you are struggling to keep up with the pace of this video, please feel free to pause your screen at any time so you can actually read these sentences so you can get an idea of how to incorporate these in an essay. Now, let's look at the next paragraph. So you'll notice that I color-coded the word if because it's a conditional sentence. It indicates that we have conditional syntax, and then we have a rhetorical question. So these are a little bit more subtle in terms of strategies, but she is kind of shifting from exemplification and detail into these sort of like questions to provoke a response from her audience. So we've got words like mothers and teachers here, which are words that suggest a maternal nature. She's really playing on her audience's connection to their femininity, I guess. So now I'm going to show you guys a little bit of a longer paragraph here. So in order to get everything to fit on the screen, I'm going to do the annotations a little bit differently. We start with a rhetorical question here. That's what's in orange. And then we've got some interesting word choice because she's actually directing this at her audience, like making them feel very guilty here that they're complicit in this. And at the end here, we've got parallel structure. So you'll notice that the verb choice that she used is all in the same tense. Now, the next paragraph is a little bit shorter. We see quicker sentences here. We do not wish this, we prefer, that kind of thing. So she's uniting herself with the audience. She's not necessarily accusing them. She kind of is, but she's including herself in that, which is why she says we. So it's less of a direct attack. Also, she notes that they're almost powerless. So this is again a reference to the fact that they cannot yet vote, but obviously want to. Now we have what looks like a rhetorical question, but it's actually a different strategy. It's called hypophora. Some people say hypophora. It's when the speaker poses a question and then answers it. You don't actually have to note the word hypophora in your essay. You can literally just say the speaker poses the following question and answers it. Works just as well. Now we have a call to action, which is really important because most passages, if not all of them, are going to have some sort of call to action because it relates to their purpose. So it's really important that you analyze the implications of the call to action when doing a rhetorical analysis. Now, her call to action is very direct. However, sometimes it's a little bit more implied. We see some interesting wording here when she says, for the sake of the children, and she has a very clear call to action at the end. We should enlist the working men voters, so basically join with the males. Now, she's speaking to a room full of women who want to vote, so maybe the men weren't the most popular people to join with, who knows? But basically, this is what we need to do in order to solve this problem. Now let's talk a little bit about establishing a line of reasoning. So basically, one tip that I have for you is to divide the text into sections. So I've divided it into 4 sections here, and if I wanted to write 3 body paragraphs, I would have to combine the main points. So I've listed different options here. You would choose one of these options if you had 4 sections but needed 3 body paragraphs. If you guys are looking for more content about establishing a line of reasoning, or maybe you just want more help with rhetorical analysis, then please check out these playlists here. I hope this video was helpful just to show how to quickly approach a prompt and annotate it. If it was helpful, please don't forget to give this video a like. Make sure you're subscribed, and until next time, guys, happy writing!